Living from our heart, living from our core, living from our power, we all get more. We are powerful women.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Transformation Summit. I'm Sue Erda. I'm your host for this event, and I'm also the publisher of Powerful You Publishing. And I am so grateful and honored to speak to these incredible women who are the authors of our book, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women. And today, I actually am speaking with Couture DeSaro, who is the woman who wrote the foreword for this book. I have known Ro for about almost 15 years, and I love her so much. I know you'll love her too. She was a facilitator for us when we had our Powerful You Women's Network. She has shared stories in 2 of our anthology books. She's an awesome woman, and what you're going to learn today, and I know you know this because of her title, she is the original gutsy gal, and we're going to find out what that means to Ro and what it's going to mean for you. First, I'm going to read a brief introduction of Ro, and then we'll get started talking with her. Couture DeSaro is a multi-award-winning entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, 4-time best-selling author, transformational leader, influencer, coach, and facilitator of courageous conversations that move the needle. After breaking several glass ceilings for a high-ranking Wall Street firm, she founded Gutsy Gals Get More, LLC. Her collective learning programs are uniquely experiential to help women leaders up-level their mindset, unleash their brilliance, step into their inner gutsy gal power, and become an impactful influencer while earning wild money. As a strong advocate for feminine/masculine balance, get that going, she has experienced women taking more risks and achieving more than they ever had before gracefully. And Ro, I am so happy to welcome you today. How are you?
I am beautiful, and I am so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak to your beautiful audience.
Yeah, and they are beautiful. They're so great. I love that they are here listening to this because they're here because they want more ease and peace and joy and aliveness in their journey of life and through their own transformation. So I know that you will help them with that. You know, your topic actually for today that you chose was awaken your inner gutsy gal and let her shine through. So I want to talk about that. And I guess we start with the very basics, right? What is the inner gutsy gal?
Hmm. That's a great question. The inner gutsy gal is a woman who has found her voice. She stepped in and really knows who she is. She knows what she wants. She wants to show it authentically. She wants her to be her uniqueness, her self expression, to be the woman that shows up in the world in all that she does. And in business, generally, that is her showing up with her unique ideas. You know, she's a thought leader, she's a change maker, and many times she's a nurturer. She's a nurturer that, wants to have a business that's so wholehearted and wants to be able to be fulfilled in life. So she's also the woman that really is looking to strive to like peak performance and full potential and what I always say is have it all, because I am a believer of have it all. My definition of have it all is slightly different than when you and I, when we grew up in our 20s and 30s. Have it all was always you could have a career and you could have a family at the same time, and pretty much that was it, and not be like, you know, totally overwhelmed and stressed. But I look at have it all as it has that. It has that you could have your business, but it's having a business that you love and having clients, soul clients that love you and you love them, and having freedom to enjoy it all, whether that be with family, with partners, with friends, however that is. But it's and having the fulfillment and happiness that you're contributing something to the world. That's to me having it all, and women can do that. Every single one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. We can all do that. I'm with you on that 100%. You know, I have always loved that you chose gutsy gal for the name for this. That word gutsy. How did you get that? I know you a little bit, and I know you got a lot of guts. Tell me about that, though. How'd that name come about?
So it was interesting. I was having a conversation with a brand strategist and creating my website, and she was looking into me and who I am. And we get into the conversation of how I was a bodybuilder and I was very pioneer in women lifting weights, and I was the only female lifting weights back then. And back then it was no guts, no glory. So she
Mm.
said to me, so she had the intuition. She goes, "Well, how do you feel about no guts, no glory?" And I said, "I like the guts, but I don't like what that stood for was like work hard, be hard, and do it." I'm like, but that just started the brainstorming of the conversation. And then the Gutsy Gal was born.
I
And I
love
was
it.
like, that's me, because I've been a risk taker. I've been this woman that's been able to say yes to things that I know I had no right to say yes to. Well, at the moment I felt no right, but I felt like I wasn't smart enough. I felt I didn't have enough knowledge. I didn't have, like, who am I? Who am I to be saying yes to this? But I'm saying yes.
I love that.
And and it worked out well in my life, more often than not.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say, right? We say we regret perhaps at the end of our lives those things we didn't do or said no to versus those things that we did do, even if we failed.
Yeah. So I learned at a very young age that everything is figure outable. You can figure it out, and you'll learn as you go, and you'll course correct as you go, and you don't know all the answers before you say yes.
Mhm.
So that really helped me do that more and more and more. It's like kind of like building that muscle. So I was building the muscle in the gym, right? But then I was building my mental muscle as well. I was building my risk taking muscle. I was building my gutsy gal muscle. I was just building all these muscles to be able to, like, hey, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. It's like, all right, so what? If it works, phenomenal. If it doesn't, it's going to give me some answers. And
Yeah.
I just have that simple attitude, and I don't get all crazed about what's going to happen if I make a mistake, and how is this going to ruin my entire life because I did a Facebook live and I pronounced a word wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to step into it. I agree with you. So there are people listening right now, Ro, that are saying, I want that. I want everything you described. I want all of that. So what does it take for them to now go ahead and awaken their inner gutsy gal?
It takes them to look within. It takes them to find out who they really are and start to take a look at who are you, what do you stand for, what's important to you, what do you really want. And because that's where we find our confidence, and that's where we find, you know, the courage to go out there and do what I was just saying. Because and not put yourself in a box. Too many women put ourselves in a box. I was actually talking to somebody last night, and she says so far she was almost getting a little queasy about coaching because all the coaches she's had was trying to put her in a box. And that's not what she wants. I'm like, that's what nobody should ever be put in a box. So it's not having this. It's abolishing the cookie cutter mentality that I need to do it the way everybody else needs to do it. And really, when you tap into yourself, you find your unique brilliance. You find your unique gifts and talents. You find all the experiences that you brought, that you lived in life, and from that, you probably have solutions to people's problems. And if you want to take those solutions and those answers and and serve it with other people and help them, then that's it. You're born. You're a gutsy gal. You're ready to rock the world. You're ready to build a business, and that's all it takes. It doesn't take all this other business strategies and skill set and all this hoopla. That comes. It'll come, but it starts with you, and it starts with you knowing who you are, knowing what your contribution is, knowing what's that message going to be in the world. I mean, that's how I broke glass ceilings on Wall Street, because my message was women can do this. Women can do what a man can do in the world. And it wasn't about me. It was about my message and what I believed in, and that fueled me. It's kind of like
Uh,
like you find your superpower that way.
yeah, absolutely. It's interesting how you said that, women could do anything men could do. Where did that come from, Ro? Was that from you? Did you learn that from your parents? Was there somebody that was whispering that in your ear, or where did that come from?
Well, I was the youngest of five, and my mom was the only woman that worked. She was the only woman that worked in the 50s, and she had like a real job. She didn't have most of, if other moms worked, it was like school moms, so they worked during
Mhm.
the school hours, but so they were always home. No, she wasn't home for dinner. 11 years old, she had me cooking dinner. Um, but so I had a role model of a woman that's out there being independent, standing up for what she believed in with my father, very strongly, and working. So I had that on one end, and my father wasn't he wasn't your typical masculine father. He wasn't involved in my life. He wasn't, he just kind of, he was really in the bottle kind of a little bit. So he wasn't that active. And at the same time as I was growing up, I had a lot of men coming on to me. So I had from 10 years old, girlfriend's father, to an ex brother-in-law, to a next door neighbor, to all these safe men.
Hmm.
And society then, and I'm studying psychology in school, and I took a class, women and men. And then I'm starting, so the society of men and women. So I seen it from an educational standpoint. And I'm like, huh, society is putting men on this pedestal. And my version of them was like, that's not what I would want to put on a pedestal of men, you know, doing inappropriate things to young girls.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, they were putting women in this box of just being like, we're just caretakers and that's it. And my mom did not reflect that. She had 5 kids and went to work when I was 3 years old in 1960.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I had this, my personal life was not what society was saying. And I was like, that's not why. Why are we putting women down? And I had a strong, strong Italian, grandmothers, and she was strong. I had this long line of strong women in society. In school, what I'm teaching them is that women, just speak when you're spoken to. Don't, you're not going to get a job. You're going to just, all you're going to do is, raise children and cook and vacuum the house and things like that. And then that's not what I was experiencing behind the doors in my house.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's kind of like where I started. And when I went to Wall Street, I say this because when I went to Wall Street and then I started bodybuilding, that gave me some strength as well. But I wasn't afraid of men. And I learned how to ward off men and ward off their, the sexual harassment, because this is way before sexual harassment, right? So it was going on, but it was not, there was no awareness to it. And I was like, I wasn't afraid. I was like, because no, there's nothing else you can do to me,
Hmm. Wow.
and I'm here to show that women deserve to be here.
Absolutely.
Why God gave me that, I probably from that upbringing, but it was like I just felt it so, so strongly. So I've just been a woman that has been very intuitive and lived with my gut since a young girl. And maybe back then we would call it Brooklyn street smarts. you know I feel like, oh, I don't have my master's and my PhD, because the only women that had any kind of decent position when I was working on Wall Street were like they had PhDs.
Hmm.
They had their masters, they had like high education. And I'm like this little street girl from Brooklyn that graduated college but with a psychology degree, and I'm working in economics on Wall Street. And here I am, within 6 months I got my first major promotion, that I was the first female. And that happened to me several times. So I broke several glass ceilings, and then I even broke non-female positions that the firm never did. So, when I look back, I was like, well, what was I doing to really do this? And it was just me. Like, I didn't I didn't have the worries. I didn't bring that to the table because I was so adamant and so moved by that t- women can do this. And
Hmm.
that's all I saw. It was like that was my tunnel vision. My tunnel vision wasn't like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can't do this. That wasn't even in existence yet for women, because women weren't working. Where now that is all you hear. And it's almost like, I think, to the point that when women that are in their 20s, it would be like, yeah, this is the problem of women, so I have this problem. Are you tracking with me on that?
Oh
You see what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's now coming to bite us even more so. So that's what's fueling me now,
Yeah.
even more so. It's like it's a feeling and a movement that I stand for, women having it all and women being able to make their own decisions and do what they want, and put that out there. And that is still what fuels me today.
I love it. I love it. And step into their power. This is what it's about. Like just it's there. You just got to recognize it, allow it, do it, tap in, all that stuff. You've been
Yeah.
working with women for years, Ro. And would you say that there are any common barriers or common things that keep them stuck?
Yes. So the main thing that keeps women stuck is their perception of who they are, what is possible, what isn't possible for them, their perception of what life is, their perception of others, their perception of themselves. We look at it so critic like with critique. We critique it so strongly in a negative way, and that's what holds us back. So we create our own glass ceiling, and we
Hmm.
have our own inner glass ceiling, and these barriers of I'm not enough, I'm too much, I'm powerless, I'm not important, I'm alone, I'm isolated, I nobody cares about me, nobody what I have to say is not important. Like, and all these things, and these thoughts will keep us stuck. But yet the problem is that women don't think that that is what's keeping them stuck. They don't realize it, and they think it's that, no, I need to learn how to do Facebook lives. I need to learn how to do videos. I need to learn how to write a blog. I need to be I need to be have a website. I need to all these skill set, and they don't look at their own identity.
Hmm.
So it starts with it. We got to look at our spiritual side first, then we look at our identity, then we look at our values, then we look at our beliefs. And it's from all that, your identity, your values, and your beliefs is where your behaviors show up. Instead, we try to bypass all of that and go straight to behaviors and correct the behavior when we don't have the right identity to that behavior or the right belief to that
Hmm.
behavior. So, like I always say in belief, what's the word inside of belief that keeps us stuck? LIE, lie. The word lie is right in the middle of the word belief, because these are lies that we tell ourselves. These are old stories we tell ourselves, and that's what keeps us stuck. And men don't do this.
No. Well, what's the difference? So what's the difference really between men and women? And let's frame this though around transformation, because that's what we're talking about,
Yes,
right? This is the topic of the
absolutely.
book and all of that. So for transformation, what is the difference for men versus women when we're transforming our lives?
So the difference is women make it the meaning that women give it when things aren't working out. We give it a meaning that it's us, that we're the reason it failed. We're the reason. I mean, and look how we even grew up. We grew up that the woman I was talking to yesterday, she's a domestic abuse, and her own father at one point said something about like how, these women, we asked for it, like we're the reason, and her own father. And she was like, wow, like, and same thing like with how many times did we go when we were growing up with rape,
Right?
that because we didn't dress we dressed the way, and we asked for it. And so it's these same things that every time something doesn't go our way, we look within and we make it about us personally, like I did something wrong, I made a mistake, I'm a failure, I. Where men, they look at it, it's of the situation. Oh, it's because of COVID-19. It's not because of me. It's because of they use outside sources. They never internalize it to make it that they're the reason for the mistake or the error or whatever it is. Where women internalize, it's the same reason why then, like, we have an issue with a female or somebody else, even a man, doesn't matter. Uh, we hold that grudge for like hours and days and weeks and months and years, and sometimes, and men can have a conflict with another man, or even another woman, but he would accomplish another man, and then 10 minutes later, they're highlighting themselves and shooting a beer and, like, saying, oh, look at that football down, and look at this, and they're like best friends again, like
Yeah.
it never happened. They don't We don't do that. We hold it in and like, how dare she say that, and oh my god, and that's a major difference.
How do we get over that?
Good question.
Easy question, right?
Easy question. Easy question. Well, first of all, we need to start to recognize the triggers and see that it's not who we are. This is why knowing who you are, that this is not real. This is not the real us. That's not the truth. So what is the truth? And start to look at. So when you really break through your inner glass ceiling and you find out what barriers really stopping you, and then you learn. I'm like, okay, I'm not good enough. Has been really making me self sabotage myself. See, for me, it was I kept thinking I was a failure. I mean, this is last year I found that I'm a failure, and then you just heard of everything that I've done in my life, right?
Right.
And because I never gave myself credit for my accomplishments. I was like, I always at the right time. The market was strong, Wall Street. I was in the right place at the right time. I got lucky,
Hmm.
all it wasn't, it wasn't me. It wasn't my smarts. It wasn't my brilliance. It wasn't anything that I did that was so smart that got me those promotions. I never gave myself credit for any of
Well,
that.
see, that's the thing, right? We don't give ourselves credit, maybe, but we give ourselves blame,
Yes, exactly.
right?
So
Uh,
it's like this. And
yeah.
it's keeping our energy down. It keeps our thoughts in the wrong place. It shuts down our brain. We shut down from the neck down. We don't hear our heart. We don't hear our intuition because we get into this doing mode because that's a masculine, way of being. That's the system that teaches us. And my goal in life right now is actually to dismantle this masculine success system that we inherited and make it more of a partnership system, make it more of a unity system, make it more of like we're balancing masculine and feminine. It's not about us trying to be doers and you know putting us into like the Nike, like just do it. Like that doesn't work with a lot of women. That's
Mhm.
not going to be grace, and that's putting you in a box like I was talking earlier, and it's not allowing your uniqueness to come forward and like what you want and how you want. How when you have a business, when you're in transformation and you're trying to overcome something, it's it's got you have to own who you are. And this is how I want it. This is like I remember I had a client and she was uh had a shop that she was opening up, and then the pretty much most of the workers are men, and they're giving her ideas. You should do this, or you should do this color, and she came to one of my circles, and at the end of the circle, she was like, you know what, I want purple, and that's what I'm gonna get, and I'm not gonna make anybody change my mind. I want my walls purple in my store, and I'm gonna have the walls purple in my store. So
Yeah,
it's stepping into your power and recognizing that and then unapologetically standing up and speaking your truth loud and clear for the whole world to hear without
absolutely.
without worrying of for the people that are not going to like what you have to say. They don't count. The people
No.
that count are the people that like what you're saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've got to know our tribes. We have to know our own message. First, we have to know ourselves. That's
Yeah,
absolutely what it's all about.
yeah.
This is great. I could talk to you all day. However, our time is up. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Do you have just one final thought for the listeners? If they're wanting to awaken their inner gutsy gal, what's the one thing that you would leave with them today if they take anything from this?
It's to find their answers within. They have an inner expert. Tap into their wisdom. Tap into your own inner wisdom. Don't shut down the naysayers, shut down the outside world, and go internal. Spend 15 minutes a day, ask yourself questions, and just sit and listen for the answers. We need to, as women, we need to stop and listen. Stop
Hmm.
and listen to your heart. Just listen to your heart, listen to your intuition. It'll never steer you wrong.
Absolutely. Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Ro. Like I said, I've known you for 15 years. It is an honor to know you. I love working with you. Every time I talk to you, I love what I hear because you have always stayed with the same message, which I appreciate. It's like, yes, there's new elements, there's new things that you have learned, new ways to teach people, but you are always so true to yourself and this message that you have to help women break that inner glass ceiling, which is where it all starts. So I appreciate you so much. I know you have a gift for our audience. They're going to love it. Will you tell us what that is and how they can get it and also how they can reach you any other way online or wherever?
Absolutely. So there's always this piece of us that we feel we can't let the world know about, when it comes to business, that we need to hide. When in actuality, to be successful, to create a brand for yourself, is to create one that's based on your passion, your personality, and who you are. So I have an assessment. It's a branding assessment. It's archetypes. We have 12 archetypes, but they're feminine archetypes. So it's about, we want financial success, but we want spiritual fulfillment as well. So each archetype has its own spiritual contract to it. There's alchemist, artist, humanitarian, innocent, ruler, maverick, sage, all, those are examples of some of the names. So they're feminine. I call them feminine power branding with archetypes. So I want to give that assessment as a gift, but then not just give the assessment and then you don't know what to do with it and what it means. And it's like, and this is like, oh, this was fun and it looks good and it doesn't do anything for you. I'd like to create and turn that into an actionable item that you actually can do and create some substance with it. And then, so create, everyone that takes that assessment will come on a class and we'll have, I have a training that they can listen to. And if they can't get on live, they could get on the recording. So I want to give that. It's a $597 value because it's my time that I'm going to give them like an hour and a half to go over the strategies and how to implement the answers to this assessment.
Wow, that's an awesome gift. And so where do they get that?
I created a URL. They could get that. It's a shortened one with a bit.ly. So it's bit.ly/gutsy gal gift.
Perfect. Gutsy Gal gift.
Yeah, no uppercase or anything like that. Just gutsy gal gift. So bit.ly/gutsy gal gift.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Ro. That gift sounds great. Everything you shared with us sounds great. I know that there are people out there wanting to tap into their inner gutsy gal, so I know they'll reach out to you. And, I just so appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship. I appreciate everything I've learned from you, and I appreciate the woman you are and how you show up in the world. And I so appreciate you writing this forward for the book, too. I hope that everybody that reads this book will first read the forward because it's really great.
Awesome. And I read the stories of the women before I wrote the foreword of the book, and it's always so inspiring seeing and reading about these women of what they've done and how they've turned themselves around and how they work themselves through it. So it's a great book. I really recommend that everyone get the book and read it.
Yep, absolutely. And so listeners, thanks for being here today and buy this book, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women, on launch day, which is October 20th. When you buy this book, you go to our website. It's transformation-book.com. When you go to our website, we'll guide you to Amazon to buy the book. You bring back your receipt number, plug it in, and you will have access to, not only you'll have this book, but you'll have 35 or more gifts from our partners and authors. Great stuff. You will have these amazing gifts, this wonderful book, these inspirational stories. You'll love it all. So treat yourself. October 20th, transformation-book.com. And thank you all for being so conscious about your own transformation, how you're showing up in this world, because every single one of us matters. So thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.